First up, he is a CNN contributor, former White House Associate Director under President Ronald Reagan. Please welcome Jeffrey Lord. Jeffrey. How are you, sir? Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Well, Jeffrey, I wanted to have you here because I see you on CNN all the time. You are nothing if not a steadfast supporter of Donald Trump, and you were on the Trump train early.
2013.
2013. So you get to gloat. But what I want to know
Not polite.
What I want to know is this. I mean, because this is a small circle, the media. I talk to people, you talk to people, the Washington people, like you come out here. Everybody says, you're the nicest guy in the world. Genteel, polite. What do you see in Donald Trump? To me, he's not just the most vulgar politician we've ever had.
Right.
To me, he's the most vulgar human being.
Right.
Vulgar. Why do you, genteel, nice, polite, Jeffrey Lord, have this affinity?
You've won Mom over.
What is it? What is the attraction?
Two things. First of all, I have to say, as somebody who knows him and considers him a friend, he has always been, in my presence, polite, charming, sensitive, truly.
But you would agree he's not that public.
Okay. So, secondly,
Would you?
I agree that he appears to people in many ways as you describe. But let me tell you from a political standpoint, and I mean this seriously. When you heard the Hillary Clinton thing about the basket of deplorables and people are irredeemable, there are a lot of Americans out there, and I talk to them a lot, who think that people in the media and the political world look down on them and have basically contempt for them. And they look at Donald Trump as somebody that can go out there and stand up and dish it right back. Now, you can say that's right or that's wrong, but there's a genuine, I mean, I've been to some of these Trump rallies and talked to people and asked, what is this? And this is one of the things that they really appreciate. They think he is standing up for them, and they feel they've just had it. So that's what they see.
She said one stupid thing, and that justifies pussy grabbing.
No.
Well, I mean, but again, your answer was she did one bad thing.
No.
So we forget about it.
Okay, I'm not communicating. What I'm trying to say is they feel this has been going on for years. She gave literal chapter and verse to it, but that this has been going on for years and years and years with people in the media and politics of both parties, I might add.
Okay, but again, your answer is all the bad stuff about Trump we let go. Because we needed this champion. Because the other side is so bad. I have a feeling that, let me ask you this about Republicans in general. I think you think that liberals are so dangerous that almost anything justifies keeping them out of office. And that would include the massive amount of lying that I hear from your side and the justification. Is that true? Is that the real truth? You think they're feckless and they're fuzzy-headed and they will sell this country out?
Once upon a time, Bill, I thought I was going to be a liberal. My heroes were JFK, Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King, and then I began to see this in college, and I went on a protest over Kent State to Washington, and I began to sense this sort of contempt for my parents' generation, the so-called greatest generation. And I really think that has morphed. That Hillary Clinton remark that I just cited to you, what's interesting is not just that she said it, but the response you hear from the audience that cheered because they all agree. That's the kind of thing that I think is really seriously wrong.
And you think it's all because she said basket of deplorables?
No, I think it's
it came out
up.
today that Mike Pence was using a private server. Basically doing the same...
Wait. No classified information, though, right?
No. He actually, the lead story in USA Today is Mike Pence was using a private server discussing intelligence matters, homeland security matters, private matters. I mean, using a private server to discuss public matters. Pretty much the same thing they said, lock her up for.
Using under the surveillance of following the rules of the Indiana state government, right?
Okay. But it just seems to me like the way you guys can turn on a dime about what you hated like 3 months ago, like using a teleprompter. Apparently that's okay now that the president is white.
No.
Well, but there was a lot of... There was an awful lot of talk about how Obama was always using a teleprompter.
Well, sure.
But when this guy sticks to it for an hour, now he's king mature.
They used to go after Ronald Reagan all the time for using a teleprompter.
I see. Okay.
I mean, you know.
Well, okay. But you used to be the free trade people.
Not always, you know.
Yeah, right. 1890.
William McKinley, Calvin Coolidge, Abraham Lincoln.
You turned on a dime on so many of the used to be the budget responsibility people, and he just proposed a budget where no entitlement cuts, defense buildup, infrastructure spending of $1 trillion, and massive tax cuts for both the rich people and the middle class people. What happened to the budget responsibility?
Well, I think you do have to, you know, first of all...
I'm just asking generally about principles. It seems like the only principle is
I don't think they
winning,
have
and
no.
The only thing in common that Trump has with the old Republicans seems to be tax cuts for the rich elites that you pretend to hate.
Tax cuts for the American middle class.
And the rich.
And but Bill, I mean, this is where we get into the difference here of class warfare. I don't believe in class warfare.
Well, it is class warfare, and you've already won. But before we run out of time, let me ask about Russia, because that's the big story on everyone's lips. I'm sure you would say nothing to see here, because that's the Republican line. But then why all the lying? Why did the National Security Advisor lie? Why did we just catch Jeff Sessions in a lie?
I don't think he did catch Jeff Sessions in a lie.
Well, he said he had no meetings with the Russians, and he turned out he had two. Why did he recuse himself?
I mean, I read today, again, the specific questions asked to him by Senator Al Franken and Senator Patrick Leahy, and it was reference to a CNN story, as a matter of fact. That was the reference, and he was talking about the CNN story. He was not talking about had he ever met Russians, period.
He wasn't even asked that question. He just volunteered. I never met with the Russians, and then he met with the Russians twice. Why do you think he recused himself? No. Because he lied and he got caught.
No, Bill, look. He's a senior United States senator. Senators of both parties and members of Congress meet with Russians and other diplomats all the time. The Obama State Department sent the Russian ambassador and these other folks to Cleveland, to the Republican National Convention. So the guy is there in Cleveland at the behest of the Obama State Department.
Okay, that has nothing to do with it, but...
well, it does. He wouldn't have been there otherwise.
But everybody seemed to have met with this guy.
Nancy Pelosi?
I'm just asking, Nancy Pelosi?
Has met, yes, she said she never met with this guy, and now we have a picture of him.
Well, let's have an investigation of her, because I'm sure that... but the Russians didn't hack Nancy Pelosi's election.
Bill,
they hacked our election. All of our intelligence agencies said, for one side to win, your side. Are you telling me that if it had worked out the other way and they were only hacking the Republicans to get Hillary elected, you'd let it slide?
Bill, I'm saying...
Answer that question. You'd let that slide?
I would be absolutely in favor of an investigation. I'm probably in favor of one anyway.
Probably.
But I would absolutely be in favor if anybody could show me that the Russians got into any voting machine anywhere in America.
Nobody is
that's
saying,
how you hack an election, Bill.
No, that's one way you can hack an election. No one is saying...
Unless you can manipulate the votes in the machine.
Well, you can manipulate the votes other ways. Let's not play games here, Mr. Lord. I like you, and I heard you're a very nice guy, but don't bullshit me. There are other ways you can affect an election. And one of them is to hack the emails of one side, and release those as a slow drip, 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 drip. And that's exactly what happened.
Investigate it. I'm for it, absolutely. But let's get it all out there.
Okay,
I mean, they've hacked the White House. Hacked every agency of government.
You know what could clear so much up?
What?
If Donald Trump would release his tax returns. Why doesn't he release his tax returns as every other president has done in my lifetime? It seems like a slap in the face to the American people, and also it seems like he's hiding something.
Right. I understand that. But, Bill, to be perfectly candid, as I've said many times on CNN, I totally disagree with this. I don't think he should ever release his tax returns. We've had presidents of the United States from George Washington all the way through to Lyndon Johnson who never released a single tax return. Was Franklin Roosevelt a bad president because he didn't release his tax returns? I don't think so.
Okay.
I just think that this is, at this stage, irrelevant.
Okay.
It's a political gotcha
It's
game.
so not irrelevant, and you know it's not irrelevant. Be honest with me, sir. Just be honest
Bill,
with me. I'll be your best friend.
Bill,
you cannot really believe it's irrelevant.
I need all the best friends I can get. However, respectfully, I have to say to you that this becomes a political gotcha game. I mean, if he releases, they're saying, oh, well, you did this, you did this. We need to get the country moving again, right?
Well, not if the country is being led by someone that was put there by a foreign power. Now, you can't...
I certainly would deny that.
But this is the assessment of the intelligence agencies. You have no respect for them?
No, that's not the assessment. The intelligence
what was it?
The intelligence agencies are basically saying that the Russian government hacked the DNC, right?
And
Wikipedia and all
for the purpose of electing one of the two.
We don't know that.
That's what they said.
We don't know that.
That's what they said.
Bill,
that's what the intelligence agency said.
Bill, then they should put out their report, and we should investigate this. I'm all for that.
Okay. Let me ask you one last question. Vladimir Putin, before Trump came along, had a 12% approval rating among Republicans. Now it's 32. Now, Newsweek had a big article this week that said he's poisoned over 30 people. And, you know, you might say 2 or 3... But, you know, it's kind of like, you know, Bill Cosby accusers. At certain points, you go 2 or 3 could be possible, but not over 30. Do you
not
think
like
this
Stalin and Franklin Roosevelt, though, you know, murdered millions.
But we were fighting the Nazis together.
Yes.
We're not doing that now. We're fighting Hitler.
I want to know.
Are we fighting Hitler now? No. So I'm just asking.
Yes.
This 32% approval rating that Donald Trump has given to Vladimir Putin, good thing, bad thing?
There's a story in Reuters today that the bromance, as they call it, is souring. I don't think that there ever was a bromance. Honestly, I don't. I think that this is, again, a liberal...
Well, he said
sort of
awfully nice things about him for 10 years.
Yeah.
Bill O'Reilly said he's a killer. And Donald Trump...
I think he is a killer.
But that's not what Donald Trump said. He said, we got killers, too.
Bill, did you not read the Church report? You know, the Central Intelligence Agency doing all these things that the U.S. Senate, run by Democrats in the day, said was bad behavior on the part of the American government, going after Fidel Castro, trying to put poison in his beard and all this sort of stuff. We have done some things.
I agree. But I mean, you think there's a moral
equivalent? I speak as an ex-liberal, right?
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jeffrey. I wish we had more time, and I hope you come back.
I appreciate it.
You're brave to come here with our crowd yelling at you.
Thank you very much. Okay.